Is
Five,
live?
4, 3. Yes, it's going to be live. 2, 1.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paul just now realized that this is live. So this is going to be pretty awesome. I am joined today with the CEO and founder of Bloom. This is our 5th episode of season 10, where we are doing everything live. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook and you want to watch or ask a question at the same time, go to the learn.proedu.com platform and you can ask Paul a question. So Paul, thank you for joining us. You're a big part of our Photographers Toolkit as well. And I want to start there before I hit you with a heavy question.
All right. Yes, Gary, thank you so much for having me. Always a joy to hang out with you, and whether it's digitally or in person, either way, glad to do this toolkit with you guys as well. I think Bloom fits in very well with what you guys have going on.
Yeah. So for those of you listening, watching that don't know about the Photographers Toolkit, we actually haven't really been mentioning it on the podcast too much. But starting last week up until January 31st, if you make any purchase at Pro EDU, you get access to 4 different things that we're calling the Photographers Toolkit. They're all different. None of them are the same. And Bloom is essentially an entire suite of tools to help photographers make more money, manage their business quite a bit better. Paul, why don't you take it from here and give me the whole rundown? Because you've been adding so many features to Bloom over the last few years that it's pretty much what doesn't it do? Maybe let's start there with what it doesn't do.
Yeah, Jamie Brindle called it business in a box. I mean, maybe an analogy is the best way to explain it. Think of, what Airbnb did for, like short-term rentals. If you had a house that you wanted to rent out here and there, imagine the tools that you would need to make that business operate. You'd be duct taping, maybe Calendly or something together with some kind of payment tool, some kind of communication tool. You'd need a website for it. You would need to get distribution and exposure to it. By the time you put all that together and you duct tape all of these tools, the client experience is not very systematized. It's not very cohesive. It's disjointed. And then, oh yeah, you'd probably need to sign contracts somewhere as well. So like you have a business operating, but you're duct taping this experience for the clients. And it's not pleasant for anyone, and it's not very efficient. And at the end of the day, your margins would not be very much. So you would just be frustrated. The business just would not be very functional. And that's why once Airbnb brought it together, streamlined the entire operation, it just made us so much more efficient. That's why this industry is booming now. In a similar way, most of what freelancers do today that we have accepted as like, oh, this is just the way we do things, is that duct tape version of your business where, like, yes, it can work, but it's just not efficient. And so the admin overhead for an average freelancer is way too large. You should not be spending that much time thinking about where was the last message, where is this contract, where do I update this little thing, where does this contact details live, like that should not be happening. It should just be like straight communication, business, and then onto your marketing efforts. So that's what we've set out to do for photographers, for marketers, for coaches, for consultants. All of them have the same fundamental business kind of cycle. And our sweet spots, anyone from starting a business and doing a side hustle to like a full-time freelancer. And we have agencies who do a couple million a year. And in that sweet spot, you can't, like, HubSpot doesn't really work for you because HubSpot is built for enterprise, or Salesforce. Those CRM tools are not geared for the micro business. And we've really focused in on that specific use case and built out the most optimized, streamlined suite of tools to make your business as efficient and productive as possible.
Yeah, and you guys did an awesome job. I love the software. We actually used it in one of Dustin's CGI tutorials to just, do a back and forth of how to send, invoices and estimates to clients, and really just how to like streamline your business. And I know, like, running Pro EDU, we use something similar, but it's Shopify, and there's a million things plugged into it. And I cannot tell you how often I'm just like figuring out what piece of the duct tape like broke, and now like this little piece of my business isn't communicating with this other piece of software, and it's a bit of a nightmare. So I love that you guys are just more than a website builder, and it's just like kind of everything to help creatives run their business, because I mean, our audience doesn't want to spend most of their time, fucking around with their business. They want to be out shooting. They want to be out doing the creative.
Exactly. No, and I'm the same way. And that's why, we started Bloom, was because like I'm a creative at heart. My undergrad's in vocal performance. I'm a singer. I played violin through college. Then I went on and did photography. I actually helped pay for my undergrad doing photography, shooting weddings and engagement shoots and all. And then I went on and did product design and web design, and then ended up, really feeling and experiencing this problem firsthand. And so when we built Bloom, that was the whole vision, is like these creative people, they just, I get it. I get it. I resonate with it. Like the admin stuff is just, it's life draining. And if you're constantly bogged down with it, you get burnt out. Like you just can't make it very long, because you need to self-express. You need to be out there doing work that's actually interesting for you, and the business side of it. And this is what, like, kind of, I don't know what the word is. It baffles me, like in the photo space specifically, because we work in many different creative industries, but like in the photo space, like there's like an allergy to even talking about the business stuff. Like people just, they don't like it. Like it seems like a topic that is so unsexy and is so boring, that it, like, whenever you see like workshops done on, the latest gear, everyone shows up. Workshops done on how to create a business that's profitable, it's like 10% attendance. Like if you go to like, events or whatnot.
Yeah, it's crazy. We send out surveys asking our audience what we should make, and business and marketing is always number 2. And we've made a variety of business and marketing courses, and no one takes them. No one buys them. And these are like courses that were like, hey, this is how you're going to make, or like increase your exposure, was our first one. And which was all about how to operate your website, which is a really good thing to talk about now, because we found that so many photographers, so many creatives are just investing in, let's say, TikTok or Instagram, or it used to be Facebook. And then all of a sudden they like change the algorithm, or like, or you can get banned. Like we've been banned before for, who knows what, because they won't tell you. And then all of your exposure is gone. So like the only thing that you really own is your domain and like your actual website. So if you use all the social media to like point to your website, then that's something that you can control, right? So the fact that you guys do so much from, the automation of like someone signing up to learn more, to then like how you communicate with them after, all the way to the final, processing of payment, is pretty huge. Because it's actually, I don't know why it's so hard, but Stripe, PayPal, like plugging all of those things in to your website is actually really complicated.
Yeah. Well, every website builder is different, and the languages they use behind the scenes and how they integrate with all the different tools. And then again, like, as creatives want to create like a really nice user experience for their clients, because we're in the creative space. It needs to look good. It needs to be smooth. And then, you're in there in your website builder, just trying to create some checkout process. Maybe you want to have like packages that you offer where people can select a package and some add-ons and, make a purchase. Maybe you're a headshot photographer, right? And so your game is volume, because you're not charging like, thousands per shoot. You're charging maybe a couple $100. And so you need to do volume. So you want to prepackage things, and just even building that experience alone on a website. Like, what are you need? Shopify? Well, that's like e-commerce. And then like, what about scheduling? What about like contracts? It gets complicated so fast. Then you're right. You're just spending all this time. And I think this is why most photographers, they just like deep inside, they have this like, I don't know, like aversion towards anything like business related, because they've tried so many things, and and then maybe it worked once, but then it doesn't work anymore. Or maybe the trends have changed, like you were saying about Instagram, where maybe they worked so hard to get up an audience, and then now Instagram just kind of, shot them. And so there's just this like maybe aversion to like how do we actually create a business that really works well. And this is something I think about a lot, because like I think freelancing has to be sustainable. Like this, for many people, it's just kind of an in-between careers thing. You're just making ends meet. Typically you don't like start out in high school and you think, oh man, when I grow up, I want to be a freelancer. You don't have like, you know what I mean? Like it's,
Yeah.
or you don't like sit at the dinner table and like, Bobby, what do you do? Well, I'm a freelancer. Oh, that's amazing. There's not like that kind of sustainability and, I don't know, sense of like you're actually building wealth surrounding it. And that's not because it can't happen. It's just I think we're at the early stages still of the Wild West of moving away from the fourth industrial revolution, where everything was prepackaged into these degrees and these, traditional job descriptions where you get your education and you get your job and you stick there for 20, 30 years. We're moving away from that, and freelancing is kind of at the forefront of that Wild West, where now you are creating your own business for yourself kind of out of thin air, where you don't need a degree. You make your own degree, you make your own job requirements, and etc. And learning how to do that is just, it's not easy. There's no university for it. There's no systematized approach. And yes, everything changes fast and it changes a lot. And so getting educated is absolutely key. But now it's also like daunting. Who do what courses do you buy? And then a lot of the stuff is just regurgitated. It's like, yeah, I've heard that before. So like, I totally understand the struggle. And so what we do at Bloom, part of, a big part of it obviously is building the tools, but also huge part of it is curating education. So the partners, the people we partner with, like we go through their content and make sure like these are the kind of educators we want to work with. Their stuff is sound, it's systematic, it fits everything we understand about building a sustainable independent business. And then we build tools around kind of the concepts that they teach, and how a business should operate. So like you own your business versus like, for example, if you're on a job market like Fiverr or, Upwork, you don't really, I mean, you kind of own your business there, but not really, because they own your distribution like 100%. You know what I mean? And so you're kind of at the mercy of their algorithms. And that's not our model at all. We don't think anybody should bank their business on any one job market. You should be utilizing them, and they're sources of lead gen for you. But then you need your own business like operating system, and that's what we've set out to create.
That's awesome. I want to talk about SEO for a second, because I've been using, as everyone, ChatGPT to like look shit up, and that really doesn't go to your website, right? So like, have you guys been thinking about or preparing for like how search is going to change and like what that means and like what Google's doing about it?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think we will certainly go into the realm of speculation here, and
I live in that realm, Paul.
it's while it's fun, how immediately useful it is debatable, because like, yes, the chat interface is replacing the traditional search interface, and probably Google will end up being a chat version. They will find ways to put advertising into it, and most likely what will happen is every answer that's given to you, there will be sources linked to it of how the AI, what sources contributed to the answer, something like that. And so there is that component for SEO. When it comes to like specifically photographers, I think what's more important is how you rank on maps, and because Google has its own services SEO thing now, where when you're searching for something, like even because like a lot of what photography is local. Like I understand that some travel and whatever, and like yes, if people are booking you to travel, you probably have created demand for yourself where you don't have to worry about that. But for most people, it's local. And so you want to rank locally, you want to play that game. And in that case, I don't think you should worry about Chat GPT or Bard, or any of those at the moment. I think it's more of like understanding how the local game works, and it's a different ranking algorithm and different playing field.
Yeah. So let's talk about how you're helping photographers make money. And I'll throw out the question that photographers probably aren't pricing themselves correctly, as like most of them don't, because it's kind of a crapshoot. So like, why do you think photographers aren't making enough money when their work is good? And then like, how are you guys helping them to, increase their bottom line?
Yeah. I think most photographers don't know how to sell themselves to businesses, and that's where the money's at. And so they'll go after very traditional ways that maybe have been exhausted. So you just have to think about alongside an entity that's generating revenue, and how can you be a business partner to them and use your skill to offer them something that they'll be willing to pay for. So any business in your local city, for example, they are looking to have online exposure, and that online exposure consists of some kind of visual representations, right? And so you can come to literally any company and pitch them packages where you're saying, hey, I'll go in and I'll take care of all of your social media assets and your company culture and your events at a retainer that's $2,500 a month or something. And maybe on top of that, you add not just like pictures of the company, but also like some graphics that you're going to make on top of that using Canva or something, or Adobe. So you got to figure out what is that unique combination of your skills, and what is that thing that entities that have money are willing to pay for. And then how can you package it into a repeatable source of income? Put it into a retainer, put it into something that you can invoice them monthly, not a one-time off. Because if you're always trying to chase new clients, that is so exhausting. You know what I mean? Because like, especially if you're going after non-commercial work and you're constantly trying to get new clients, well, you start with your immediate network, and that's great. You can post on your Instagram, whatever, and like you'll get, an initial bell curve of, your immediate network looking and being interested in, doing, I don't know, portrait work or something. But then eventually you kind of come to a point where you've kind of exhausted that. And then you're like, where do I go from here? And the problem is that like the work you're doing is not a business function, it's just like a pleasure function. And that's much harder to sell. Where I think photographers have yet to tap into selling to businesses. Like that's something that's not taught enough. That's something not talked about enough, not educated about enough. And they'll go after just like more traditional things like headshots for businesses or for realtors or something. And that's great. That's a huge market. But I think there's a lot more that can be done, especially with, prepackaged retainer models.
That's interesting. How many photographers that do that? Because that's such, for every company that needs content on a regular basis, like a local restaurant or, a local retail shop, like how many do you think are actually pitching like, hey, here's a flat fee and you get X amount of hours?
Nope. That's the thing. Nobody's pitching them. I think this is an untapped market. Like you literally can walk down the street, find a price point that works, get the model going, and then refine the pricing.
Yep.
But they all need content. They all need content. So you got to align with their business goals. Like, hey, you know, I noticed this on your Instagram page. How would you like, if I came in once a month and did this for you? And because for them, it's tied to dollars. And if you can say, hey, this is going to get you more exposure, which means this is going to get you more clients, then it's a no-brainer. It's just a lot easier to sell when you're selling to businesses.
So do you think photographers should also know, let's say, a little bit about marketing and like algorithms then for these companies to say like, hey, this is going to do better. I'm going to get into your Instagram account and see what's happening? Or do you think they should just like pump the brakes and stay there?
It depends what you're selling, right? So if you're just selling the creative assets, then you just have to be good at selling yourself and taking good photos. Or maybe you're bundling together not just photos of their company and their people and maybe their products, but also like other creative marketing assets. Like you can get into the realm of like you're a marketing partner and you are providing assets for them that they can use to market their business. And so, right alongside photography is marketing assets that maybe you do product photography, but then you also have another person that you hire underneath you who takes these images, puts them into Canva or something, and then puts them into like their brand with their logo, and you already have a machine that's ready to go for that. And now you're pitching them a much higher product, kind of retainer model. Maybe you really like the organic ranking stuff, and you want to like optimize that. And so then you're going to be like, okay, I'll be posting for you on Instagram with hashtags and everything. So now you're being their social media manager essentially. Most of these companies, they don't know how to do social media management at all, so they just have like the youngest person working for them. They just give them the login, and they're saying, hey, manage our Instagram. And that's how they do it. And then, at the back of their mind, they're like, oh, we really should do more. And then, they don't know how to do it. So it's not that hard of a sell. You just have to go out there and find out what are the companies that are actually making money, where they have overhead. If you're going to like restaurants where their margins are so slim and adding any additional expense, they're going to feel it. Don't go to those. You go to those that are making enough money where their margins are thicker, and you have something to work with. And you only need like 5 clients like that on retainer, and you're good. You don't even have to think about like constantly finding new work. Now you're like, you've set a foundation for yourself. Now at that point, you want to create a system. So then you're optimizing, and this is where Bloom becomes even more important, because now it's like, okay, there's work that needs to be done for these clients now, and maybe you need to be subcontracting other talent to help you with like editing, with whatever. And that's great. Now you're setting up an actual business where it's not just you have other people working underneath you, and that's good. That's how you scale, because you want to get to a place where you've built up a machine that generates revenue and your time needs to become shorter and shorter and shorter, how much time you're involved. You want to get to a place where you actually have the freedom of why you set out to be a freelancer, and to own your own business. And you have to build that machine. If you're always just trading hours for dollars, it's no different than just working for somebody else. Except now you have the stress of like the income is not stable. You know what I mean? And so, and building up that machine is like, now do I hire an assistant to run it? And that's why if you're duct taping it, and as soon as you start adding clients, it just gets messy so fast that it gets overwhelming. And then things, you start dropping balls. Clients start being, upset. You're not meeting deadlines, and you start pulling your hair out, and you age faster than you should. And you stop doing yoga and stop going to the gym and start eating more than you should. And, it all goes downhill from there.
It sounds like you've been down this road before, Paul.
Vicariously.
Vicariously through all of your friends named Gary. So, Paul, what is the secret to not aging? Because I feel like you look younger than when I first met you.
Just good tequila.
Good tequila.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I think actually I will tell you, I I've learned skills of letting stress go as soon as it enters into me. Like I don't let any stress stay. It just like, it's like this energy that comes at me, and I just like breathe it out and just and let it go. And started practicing. Actually, it all started with Michael Singer. He wrote this book, The Untethered Soul, and then just went down this rabbit hole for a minute, maybe like 5 years ago, and started practicing meditating and of just not letting any kind of negative energy come and stay and get stuck on me. And if anybody says something, if there's something even maybe I do, and it comes in, and I just have to let it go and not let it get stuck. I think that's the key to just life overall, enjoyment of it. But most
So
of
you're the
aging, I think,
walking,
comes from stress.
living, real sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Are you the walking actual version?
Yeah, I wish, aspiring for sure. But
Always working,
learning.
planning.
Yes.
So the features that you guys are rolling out, I know that you've come out with like 1 million of them. What's the last big one that Bloom came out with?
Actually, I'll talk about the last two that we're doing right now, and the last one that we just we're like 80% through is the client portal. I think this is one that most photographers and creatives overall kind of miss out on. And it's this thing that makes you so much more professional, and it gives your clients an experience that's like, okay, this is a real business. This isn't just some kid down the street mowing my lawn. And so we enable you to, if you're using our websites, obviously the client portal login is built into it. If you're running your own custom site, you can just add a button in your navigation that says client login or client portal or something. It makes your website look a lot more like, wow, there's a lot more going on here than just like a template. And when they click on it, they log into the back end of your business. So everything related to their project, the invoices, the contracts, any assets. We also have image delivery. So, any galleries you create in there that you want to make available for them will be in there. You can upload beautiful cover art to it. So it's all very, branded around you. And especially this is helpful if you have repeat bookings. And so now we're inside the client portal, we're adding tools for them to refer you to other people. So every time they're in their client portal, there's like a prompt to like share your service, and there's like a link, etc. So all of communications handled in there as well. So it's this beautiful, packaged entity where it brings together all aspects of their project, and they can log in on your website. It gives them another reason to go to your website, which is really good. So that's huge. And then we're also adding multi-user functionality, which we haven't had for all this time. It's always been one user. So that's all coming this month.
Oh, awesome. So if you're just now watching, just now tuning in, you can get Bloom Pro for free for 12 months if you make any purchase at proedu.com up until January 31st. So Paul,
Sweet
outside
deal.
of Bloom, let's put business aside for a second. What keeps you ticking, like as an artist? Like why do you get out of bed in the morning?
Is my cat scratching on my face?
So you're a cat guy.
No, my ex-girlfriend gave me the cat, so now I'm stuck with her. But I guess I became one. No, what gets me up and taking? That's a big
if it's
question.
not Bloom, if it's not Bloom.
Well, Bloom is tied to something, bigger, where I mean, ultimately, I want to be obsessed with something that's good, that's bigger than me. And I've always been obsessed with everything that's creative and artistic. I think this is what gives color to life. And I have a big heart for creatives. I've always wanted to figure out myself, how do we solve the tension? How do I solve the tension between needing to make money, but also self-expressing and being creative and having creative outlets, and then help others as well? Because without us, the world is just very black and white, and it's just Excel spreadsheets, and that's just boring. And I think we need more art. We need more creativity. That's what makes us feel. And at that, on the most fundamental level, I think we humans feel before we think. We feel and then we rationalize it. We want something, and then we figure out how to get it with our, the intelligent part of our brain. And so so yeah, I'm driven by my own like pursuit of solving this problem in my own life. Like, how do I both create something but also that, have outlets that stimulate me artistically. So for me, that's music more than anything. And I'm getting back into, creating and producing, not just DJing. And
What's your DJ name?
DJP. It's a
DJP.
placeholder.
Right.
It's a placeholder. I'm not.
D for placeholder? Are you DJ placeholder?
Yes, I am.
Did we just come up with it? Did we just come up with it? Come on.
I'm not sure that'll stick around, but
I think it's pretty good.
DJ placeholder.
Because when are you going to come up with the name if it's just a placeholder?
DJ opener.
So what are you mixing? What's on your mix here?
I'm really into the kind of rhythms that are coming out of like Turkey and Berlin and Amsterdam and Sweden. Very, very European, very like Mediterranean. It's a lot of stuff that you would hear probably at like Burning Man and such. Polyrhythm. I love organic textures. Things that there's like this. It's very minimalist.
Taylor Swift is not in your playlist right now. Are you a Swiftie? And would you admit it if you were?
I probably wouldn't, but no, I'm not. I mean, like, she's great. She has captivated audiences. I don't know how she does it, dude. Like, people, apparently her live stuff is what gets people. She bewitches people on the stage. I don't know how. I need to go just to like learn. But yeah, music is something that I want to, get back into. What about you, Gary? What's your artistic self-expression?
Just messing with people on podcasts, really. That's what gets me out of bed, making guests feel uncomfortable. And no, ever since I started Pro EDU, like it came out of wanting to learn photography, and I was, stuck in a place where we didn't really have internet, and now I sound super old, but it was Moldova. So I was in Eastern Europe, and like my friend Seth had this camera, and he was like, was taking photos and showing them to me. I was like, that is amazing. So I instantly bought one, and it was the Canon T3i, and it showed up like 2 months later. And then every photo I took was just like, wait, these suck. Like the camera that I just spent all this money on didn't like make a good photo. And it was like, holy shit, there's so much more to this. And it was kind of like, when I got back home, it was right around the time Creative Live launched. And like, while I loved Creative Live in the early days and like would watch everything that they made live and bought most of their stuff, and ended up going and teaching on Creative Live with Rob and Aaron Nace, there was still something kind of missing. I still wanted to have a different, not a live experience. So, education to me, like, I'm not someone who learns from books. Like, I don't do well in class. Like, it's really hard for me to get straight A's. It's just a lot of work, and like, I have to reread things. But if I watch something, if I watch someone do something, I can remember it like that. Mm-hmm. So, I really just made tutorials that I wanted to watch. And, still today, like, I still want to make, I actually just had this really awesome, did a week of interviews with like our top users. So we emailed people, and we were doing these one-on-one videos, and I was asking a lot of our users that have like bought just about everything and that have been customers for like 5-6 years, like, what are the, the classes that you've loved? And they were all like the 15-20 hour ones. And, in the last few years, we've been making them a little shorter and a little more like less about, shorter for a number of reasons. One, because it's incredibly expensive to make a 20-hour tutorial where we're following Eric almost around California or Tim Tatter around, the world. but also because it was like, all right, we're seeing people spend less time on videos, and it's mostly because it's like you're on your phone. It's like, 15-second reels. I just want to consume a billion of those. But the feedback we got was we really still want to see these like really awesome documentary style courses. So like, that's honestly, that's what gets me out of bed. And like, I love what you're doing with Bloom because I want to spend so much less time fucking around with the website. Like the amount of times that our website is broken, or like some plugin that we're using has broken, and I'm just like pulling my hair out because I, just lost a bunch of money, or like our Facebook ad account got shut down and we, stopped being able to like target the right people. And it was like, like all this money that used to be coming in, like is now not, because we were just investing that into products. So
yeah,
that was a bit of a tangent, but
100%.
I honestly, I love documentary filmmaking, and I love, finding artists and figuring out what makes them tick. And like, that's what I try to do with every project.
You know what, Gary? I think, how like the homemade videos became like all the new rage, where it used to be like higher production value meant something in marketing, and then everybody wanted organic content. And so even like big brands would create, ads with just like a selfie camera. And I think we've swung as far as it'll swing that way. That's my theory. Where now, because I'm always thinking about the signal to noise ratio. And so when you're putting out any type of content, how much does it look like everything else? And I think now we're at a place where doing higher production, higher quality work actually will have better ROI. That's a theory. What do you think? Do you think we've peaked with homemade style videos?
I hope
in terms
so.
of marketing, specifically in terms of like marketing.
Oh yeah, so for marketing, for ads, I mean, I hope so, because it's kind of all I see, right? It's like it's like UGC now. It's like there's so many fake UGC like videos. So if you don't know UGC, it's user generated content, and it's basically flooded Facebook. So if like you're looking for jeans right now, and like you mentioned jeans, then like you're gonna start seeing ads for like jeans, and instead of it being like a feature based, video of like why our jeans are the best, it's gonna be like 23-year-old John like on his back porch walking around with his phone, being like, "These jeans are the best, man. I get so many women with these jeans," and like he doesn't even wear the jeans. He's like a hired actor that just like cranks this shit out. Which, like actually a ton of marketing, over the last few years, I've had some external marketing people come in and they propose that, and they're like, let's hire people to make UGC. And I'm like, the first thing that someone's going to do is like look up that person's portfolio, and if there's not one, I'm going to get fucking burned at the stake. There's just no way that that's going to fly with a creative. And like, they kind of have
but
to
it
be
work but it works in other industries, I think, a lot more than I think photographers are a lot more skeptical than I think most other industries. Maybe they also have they're more technically inclined. Maybe they have more time to sit around and like look up if they have a portfolio or whatnot. Where most other industries, they just don't care. There's a reason why they do it. It works.
Yeah. So
but I
are
think
you saying that's what you guys do?
No, we don't. We don't do any ads. And this is actually, maybe you could help us with this, but like I've been thinking about, we need to start doing ads. It's all been just, we work a lot with influencers, with educators, people who align with what we're doing and who are educating. And we'll do a lot of sponsored content that way. It's a partnership. They're bought into our product. They use it. It's so much more organic. Ads are tricky. First of all, they're very expensive. And then it's really hard to know who Facebook is showing them to. And we've had attempts, but then like you have to be good at making creatives too, and so now you need like either you're outsourcing it or you have your own production in-house. And by the time you do the math, for us, it's easier and better just to work with influencers. But But that's something I've been thinking about a lot in this next maybe Q1 of 2024.
Yeah, interesting. So if someone is using Bloom, you guys plug into the Facebook pixel
For their
tracking the money?
websites? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if someone's running, ads from, let's say, Facebook or wherever, they can basically see like the conversion, right? So if I'm buying an ad
Yeah,
and I put the
yeah,
pixel on my Bloom
yeah,
website, I can see
yeah,
the conversion. The conversion could be just like an email sign up. So depending on
yeah,
what you want to optimize it for,
yeah.
it'd be interesting to like maybe do a test and see like some of your photography clients, and like we could maybe make a whole course out of this, because getting people to your website is the hardest thing. So Facebook
Mm-hmm.
ads now, it's like a competition to see if you can break the algorithm of like why Facebook is going to make it cheaper for you. So a lot of people think like, oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to buy this ad, I'm going to get a static amount of traffic, which actually
Mm-hmm.
isn't the case with Facebook. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of other factors, like how good is the creative. So if you create something like that people are watching past like 10 or 15 seconds and they call that a through play, then they're going to show it to more people and they're going to actually reward you for putting out good content and make your ad a lot cheaper, which will sometimes send 10x traffic to your site. But then it's like, well, what's the quality of that traffic? So then like with Facebook, you have to, like, let's say you're a wedding photographer in Spokane. There's not a lot of wedding photographers probably in Spokane, like not as many as like New York or Miami. So you can kind of like optimize based on area codes, right? You can like pick the area codes
Mm-hmm.
that you want to service and then send them all to your website. And then it's just a matter of like, if 10 people signed up out of 100, that's a 10% conversion rate. So then it's just a matter of like backing into the numbers of how much was each, visit. So
Yep.
if you did it that way, then
Yep.
like you're actually like, you have a closer.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know if that closer is you, but honestly, like the closer could be your website, right? So like instead of you having to like get the email and then like
Mm-hmm.
reach out to the
Mm-hmm.
person or call them, you can automate email sending. Um, is that something Bloom does? Like, can you set it up
Yeah.
so like
You
an
can
hour?
automate emails. Yep. After somebody fills out a form. So what I would do, we actually have pretty cool landing pages, templates ready to go. So if you go to Bloom under public sites, then there's a sub tab that says custom pages. And then if you create new site, and then you can filter by landing pages, we have amazing like sales pages. And so if you're running ads, you want to make sure that whatever the ad copy and images and feel is matches exactly where they're going to land. And I think that's, by the way, this would be an amazing little mini course that you could do.
Let's do it.
And then,
Let's
dude, we could
let's
totally
do
do it.
it.
And we could use our templates to show them how to set those up. And then there you can maybe even get like a little video of you recording what your service is, or maybe videos too much to start with, just like good copy. And we have AI integrated into our copywriting, so you can do that really fast. And most importantly, there's a form that's like right there ready to go. They don't need to like search, and it's not like some contact me thing. It's like, this form with an offer ready to go, and they fill out their name, their phone number, their email, a few pieces of personal information, submit, that, and then you can start doing the math from there. And initially, like, I think most photographers, they should just get on the phone with them themselves and just close. It's only when you get to scale that you want to outsource closing. And I would say closing also depends on your price point. If you're doing headshots, that's a lot of phone calls and emails. You want to be able to like streamline it. So then you could do an instant booking, a package builder in Bloom that you send to them right away, automated, and then they can just book it themselves. Or you can even embed the instant booking on your landing page. So they go through select a date, select a package, select the time, pay right there on the spot, which would be, I think, the ideal experience.
So we should do it multi-tiered. We should get someone from Peter Hurley's community that's maybe more in quantity, and then someone maybe a little higher end that does like, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 day, like the entire day event, more like a Jay Mayhew or more Lux. And like maybe one's more automated, one's more higher end. But I love automating as much as possible. And then, being able to set up either automations to notify you of like, all right, I need to call this person, or, notify like like a schedule of like, all right, I'm going to set up a time to call you. Is this cool? And it, like up until that point, it could make it seem like they're talking to you, but it's just an automation that you set up on the back end.
Yeah, just so they get a response right away. Well, and you need a good lead management tool. And again, this is where I think Bloom is really important. Like our lead manager is very sophisticated, where you can assign statuses and tasks to each lead. So as soon as somebody fills out a form, not only do you get an email, but they go into your like table of these are the leads. This is who I need to follow up with. Maybe some person's like, oh, this is great, but I'm out on vacation for a month. Okay, you put them on hold, set a reminder, follow up in a month. And you just have to do that work. I think Joel Grimes says the magic number is 9 follow-ups before somebody books you. So you just have to be persistent. You've already paid for the lead. Now they're there. They're interested. You just have to do the work of following up. And once you create the system of following up, then you can outsource it. Then maybe you can get an assistant or somebody else to do that for you. But you have to figure out how to do it yourself. How do you generate the demand? And then how do you do the selling?
We should get you like really bottom in the funnel. And like that should be like, Paul will come on board and like be like that 8th call and like butter you up for the
Perfect. Call me, butter you up.
Butter up Paul. Unsalted, buttered up Paul. All right. No, we should do it. So if you're watching now, whether you're already using Bloom or you're maybe going to sign up until January 31st, you'll basically have a whole year. So if you're on any other website builder, or if you want to like keep your website and use all of Bloom's features, you can basically plug Bloom in to your existing site. Because I know it can be daunting if you've got like, this portfolio that's been up forever and, you want to like slowly transition out of it. Like you can do that with all of the features, like plugging in like the client portal, like just by embedding a button. Like you can do that with Bloom and like transition over that full year. So it's great that we're giving people a whole year. And again, thank you for doing that. Thank you for partnering with us to, give photographers this awesome resource. But we should definitely make this a contest. Like who can get the most leads?
Ooh, that would be fun. And then we give them like a lifetime account or something.
We give them like a huge magnet, like the biggest magnet we can find. And we hand deliver it.
Love it.
I don't think that's a good prize, but Speaking of prizes, so right before this went live, we launched our 25K photography giveaway, which you guys are giving away about $1,000 worth of that 25K. So go to proedu.com and click on the 25K giveaway. And I believe 3 or 4 people will be winning like your guys' Primo package for a year. And it's free to enter. You don't have to buy anything. And there's a lot of different ways to enter this giveaway as well. The last time we did it in 2019, I believe, we had like over 36,000 people like enter to win this stuff. So there's a lot of ways to enter. There's not just one, but most of them are completely free. And you can get hooked up by Paul. We should still add you like hand delivering the magnet, though. I think that would be.
I would get love
like an
to.
old Scooby-Doo van, and like Breaking Bad van with that fucking magnet.
Giant magnet on a cart. Yeah.
Let's start a YouTube channel where like Paul and I hand deliver this magnet to someone like down in Mexico or something, and like we get kidnapped.
It's a lead
and
magnet.
I rescue you. And it's a whole thing.
It's a whole YouTube series.
It's a whole YouTube series that we didn't plan out at all.
Love it. I love it. Gary, well, this is really cool. I'm glad we get to do this together. It's been a while. Excited for the next 2 months of all the content you guys are creating and getting you. I like the blue light behind you. It's like a purplish, bluish light. It's very mesmerizing, by the way.
Right? I call it my grimace light. You know about
Love
grimace, right?
No.
You know grimace?
No.
Was Grimace in Sesame Street? What was that? McDonald's. Oh, never mind. That was a bad idea. I don't support anything McDonald's anymore.
Good.
Fuck grimace.
Any
You know, fuck
anymore, but so you did.
I mean, as a kid, I mean, that was like the best chicken nugget of all time. But now it's like, oh, that's not even chicken.
No, God knows what it is.
Paul, what is your guilty? I got two more questions before we wrap this up. Number one, what is your guilty pleasure food? And then I'll wait for number
I do
two.
have it. Popeye's spicy chicken sandwich.
Love that chicken from Popeyes. It's pretty good. So better than Chick-fil-A.
I think it tastes better. It's probably not better quality, but every couple months I'll sneak in there, make sure nobody sees me.
Late at night.
Yeah.
Stumbling out of Popeyes. All right. The last question is, I think you should come up with a Bloom jingle right now on the spot, since you said you're a singer. So let's come up with one. Then I want you to sing it. Come on,
Gary.
Paul.
No,
Paul,
no.
I'll sing it with. I will sing it with you. I will sing it with you. How would it go? All right. You come up with a jingle, then I'll sing it, and then you sing it better than me.
I'll email it to you.
Oh, Paul.
I kindly decline on the spot.
It could be something like, "We take your contacts and we book you money, Paul from Bloom." What do you think?
I didn't want to sound like that.
Paul, it's okay. It's okay to be embarrassed of yourself. This is something that I embrace. Embarrass me and those
seeing my
around
therapist over this.
All right. Well, you think of a better jingle, and I'll sing it on the next time.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. So, lastly, if you're still with us, which no one probably is after that, go to proedu.com. You get a free year of Bloom for making any purchase until January 31st. And Paul, thank you again. I really appreciate it, and looking forward to the next time we're in the same city.
Of course.